Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Ha ha. Good evening, everybody. Let's see. We've got people coming in. We got a bunch in the chats already. How's everybody doing? That's good to see. We got a lot going on, and whenever there are conflicts involving our men and women of the armed forces being in harm's way, of course, everybody wants to know what's going on. And we hope for the best for our people overseas. But we're going to get into the bottom of what's going on and what precipitated the situation. Also, the ongoing situations we've been talking about for the past couple of days while everybody's coming into the chats. So, you see on my thumbnail there, Trump lied? Question mark. Did he lie? And then we have Syria, Iran, and then rich old question mark. What's that all about? So, and then updates and more. So anyway, we got the big rally tomorrow, and as you know, Nikki's going to be showing that on her show. I haven't seen her; she hadn't come in yet. How you doing, B Dog? How you doing, Jamie? Wait for you every night, Jamie. Well, thank you, Jamie. I appreciate that. I did get a nice comment for somebody else. When I see them come in, I'll thank them for it. They said their work shift flies by, flies by. Well, wait a minute. Now they listen to the replay afterwards. So how's everything coming in, folks? Let me know if I've got a steady stream or not. Can I get some kind of? Yeah, the rally should be smoking hot. Is the stream coming through good, folks? Hi, Christina. How are you? I hope I'm not. Oh, good. Jamie says 5x5. How you doing, Jason? So, isn't it funny that last night I brought up a little notion among many of my notions. I said, did you all remember when Mr. T ordered all the troops out of Syria and somebody was bragging after Trump left office that they did not follow his orders? And I said that person was going to be in big trouble, along with the others involved that did not follow orders from the commander in chief. Sure enough, at about 11 o'clock last night, my little hotline I got lit up with this business of airstrikes on bases in Syria, U.S. bases. There hasn't been any redeployment announced by the Biden administration. And the night I mentioned it, that flared up. Of course, I mentioned it in prior broadcasts also. Hi, Awaken Trillium. Linda. Hi, Nikki B. How are you? So everybody's coming in. Hi, Damon. Christine is here. And Pappy Two Bears is here. Sharon is here. So good. Everybody's rolling in. But anyway, let me see if I can pull up that little post I got. I got on my hotline last night about 11 o'clock. It said that that shots had been fired, a return fire from Iran to a U.S. base. And I said, oh, brother, I just talked about that. So anyway, we've got to know that this stuff is being documented. Whoever's behind this, all of them, they're making a list and checking it twice. As I said, the military, the judicial system, these local governments, especially now you talk about this mess in Manhattan. Well, other thing I brought up about prosecutors, I reminded people in the broadcast about a month or so ago. And since I got so many new subscribers, I'll bring this up again. There was a situation where the governor of Texas was trying to discipline a prosecutor and was arrested and charged and had mug shots taken of them. Now, my long-term listeners will know who I'm talking about. But new listeners may not. That was Governor Rick Perry of Texas. And this whole situation was downplayed eventually. Downplayed, but I showed a picture of Rick Scott's mugshot. And it dawned on me. That was when they made their big move to make prosecutors have an increased level of power over sitting governors, or as we see now, all the way up to the President of the United States. So, yeah, somebody made the decision that they had the authority to arrest a governor. So you can check that out if you want. I encourage you to, because it's the truth. And it should have made national news as to how that whole matter was settled out, but it was all kept very quiet. All kept very quiet. Hi, Georgia. Hi, Wanda. Hello, Mr. Kibler. Jersey Joe. Joel's in here. How you doing, Joel? Outlandish Patriot. Good evening. And Pappy Two Bear says the reason U.S. has troops in Syria because of that darned oil field. Oh, well, Mr. T, you're right, Pappy Two Bears. That's the excuse they're using. But we know that we've got more oil than anybody combined. Saudi Arabia, well, maybe not Saudi Arabia and Russia combined, but as much or more as any nation on the face of the earth. So that puts a ding in their petrodollar, the value of the petrodollar, of course, because supply and demand, right? The value of something, the value, since our dollars pegged on oil, and you come to find out is as bountiful as water, what does that do to the value of the dollar? So that was one of the things they forced Nixon into, was decoupling the dollar from gold and tying it to the petrodollar. And it wasn't long after that we ended up in a lot of situations in the Middle East that we've had a very difficult time getting out of. And Kickenberg says there's so much dropping I can't keep up. Yes, that's right. I'll put that on the screen because it's true. We can keep up. It's just like recounting what's going on. And my counter on the live stream is not working, but maybe it'll kick in here in a second as to what's going on. As long as I could see the chats, right? Well, I tell you, did you all hear the tape somebody played of this character Bragg? In my thumbnail, I have rich, old, and what? Well, Bragg was on tape, on video, saying, I've sued Trump over 100 times. I know what he's about. I know what people like him are about. You've got all these rich, old white men. I should have said who white, so it doesn't get through to the rhythm, you know. And they're all, the synopsis of what he said, they're always breaking along, getting away with it. I've sued him over 100 times. He's a criminal and he needs to pay the price. All that kind of talk is the kind of talk that gets you, at the very least, losing your law license, if not for just a brief period like a suspension. No, totally out of here is what should be the case. So anyway, that surfaced. And the other thing that came up was Bragg sitting there going that everybody is interfering with his investigation. People not in the know take that as a complaint, as that he's whining. Well, I don't take it that way. I take it as a threat, especially after what I just told you, what they did to Governor Rick Perry in Texas years ago. So you could see them feeling around and flexing their muscles as far as what to do about this business of anybody getting in their way. Do you think they might pull criminal charges against him? I think it's very much a possibility. So, yeah, you start talking about one thing, it's overlapping. It's overlapping with the ABC alphabet push in all aspects of our life. Right now, with this thing with the debacle going on between our base in Syria and the Iranians reacting to our schools. I mean, we've got people that are ascribing to, as Trump said before, an establishment of a religion, a faith that's quite a bit different than ours. Benny Johnson put up, DA Alvin Bragg likely had the bombshell document that completely exonerates Trump and withheld it from the grand jury. He tried to skew the ruling of the case by not sharing exculpatory evidence with them. If this is the case, Bragg should be disbarred and indicted immediately. So in their own minds, they're viewing this as a political thing. But if you put your military cap on, you're looking at it from the other perspective of law that we have, military law, civilian law. This person's interfering with geopolitical affairs. This person is interfering with the safety and security of this nation. This person is interfering with much, much more than, as he claims, the House of Representatives interfering with his, as he called, local investigation. And the gibberish they talk, which I've called before, Pig Latin, whether it's medical Pig Latin, legal, whatever, political, name it, where they twist words around, they make up words, or they varnish over serious things with harmless words. They're even starting to believe it. Hi, is that Ela? Hello, how you doing? Hi, Diane. Let's see. Hi, Mary, how you doing? And Debbie Webby, I know she's not going to come in, but thank you, Debbie, for that nice comment. I'm glad listening to my stream makes your shift go by quicker. I really, that's one of the things I enjoy doing, is helping people with that, getting through the day. Now, there are so many different hearings going on that on so many different subjects. Like Lauren Boebert was talking about wolves, and how keeping a firearm, People don't realize how many wolf attacks there are. People that live in the country, anything from that to what do they call it? Diversity, equity, inclusion in the military, DEI training. So and name it, everything in between. J6 investigation, the Manhattan DA, all this stuff. There is all these hearings and public testimony going on in Congress. Yes, please hit the thumbs up. I do that sometimes. I'll watch a video. I know I like it. I've been watching the person for years. And oh my gosh, I forgot to hit thumbs up. So, but anyway, you can take care of that right now. So anyway, this Bragg thing, I don't really want to let go of it just yet. And I've got a little article where it said he blew his cork or lost his cool or whatever. But what that boils down to is he sent a letter to the House and concerning the possible indictment of former President Trump. Leslie Dubeck, the general counsel for Bragg, wrote a letter to Jim Jordan, the chair of the Judiciary Committee, James Comer, the oversight chair, and Brian Steele, the House Administration Chair, stating that the Republican request is an unparalleled investigation into an ongoing local prosecution, calling it, quote, an unprecedented inquiry into a pending local prosecution. So in their own warped minds, they think, oh, since it's happened, we're alleging these things happened in our little peanut location in the city, that we can go after a former president and a leading candidate for president for the most powerful position in the entire world. Okay. And remember, James Comer is the one who said they've only scratched the surface with the BID and bank statements, and that they're getting very close concerning members of the Biden family. So you can see how the next statements will come up with later on concerning what Trump says about Bragg, about his motivations. Devin Nunes has spoken about it. This Bragg person, he's being shoved out there to do something. So anyway, the article continued. The investigation is one of thousands conducted by the Office of the District Attorney in its long history of pursuing justice and protecting New Yorkers, the letter went on to say. Bragg's response, a letter comprising of 5 pages, I ain't going to read all that, claims that the GOP would disrupt ongoing law enforcement operations, infringe upon state sovereignty, and constitute an improper use of congressional authority. The letter also suggested that the limited use of federal funds should not serve as justification for intervention. So that was a mouthful. And talk about mirroring. Who's interfering with what? They're trying to throw it right back in Jim Jordan's et al. And right back in their lap. And good luck with that. But anyway, so who's infringing upon, who's disrupting law enforcement operations? Well, the letter continues. Quote, if charges are brought at the conclusion, it will be because the rule of law and faithful execution of the district attorney's duty require it. Oh, if there's charges brought. Okay. The letter's allegation that the DA's office in pursuing prosecution for political purposes is unfounded. And regardless, the proper forum for such a challenge is in the courts of New York, which are equipped to consider and review such objections. So they're saying that the Judiciary Committee of Congress can't see what's going on with this business. That's got to go through the courts. Oh, it's got to go through the judiciary system, but the judiciary oversight from Congress has nothing to do with it. Again, people sworn to uphold the Constitution, but they'd never read it. Trump also responded on Thursday saying the district attorney's office under Alvin Bragg is allowing violent crime to flourish in New York City like never before, while he spends all of his time making his office, which is in total chaos, trying to find anything on, quote, Trump. Now, before I continue with his statement, were reports a couple of days ago that over 60% of the staff in that DA's office were vociferous against doing anything to Trump. And that's one of the reasons things were delayed, because their own staff, the majority of the staff of the Manhattan DA's office was against it. And my question is, the 40% or 35% or whatever, get all their names. They got to when this is over with, they got to go. And 60-some%, hey, see, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We got something to work with as far as a remnant government of a new republic. We can bring it back if you can get that in New York. So anyway, Trump continued to say, and this is important, he is doing the work of anarchists and the devil who want our country to fail. The, quote, horse-face agenda is dead, even by the most radical left haters, but he doesn't care. He wants to go with it anyway. And that kind of a statement is reminiscent of Mr. Putin, who said the Western powers are aligned with Satan. And right there you have Trump, for the first time in my knowledge, in an official communication, has brought up any Luciferian entity. But he did it in this letter. So I find that very interesting. And the article goes on. This extends beyond Bragg as well. On Wednesday, Jim Jordan sent a letter seeking testimony from two prosecutors who had resigned from the New York case due to disagreements with Bragg. Quote, last year, you resigned from the office over Bragg's initial reluctance to move forward with charges, shaming Bragg in your resignation letter, which subsequently leaked. You shamed him for bringing charges, Jordan wrote to Mike Pomerantz, former New York Council Special Assistant District Attorney. Based on your unique role in this matter and your subsequent public statements prejudicing so they're requesting his testimony. And that's going to be straight out of the horse's mouth, out of the Manhattan office. So, yeah, the devil's always in the details. And that one detail I kind of liked hearing that out of Mr. T, showing who we're dealing with, people that are aligning themselves with anarchists and the devil. So, here's an article. Biden's mandate, okay? And a lot of you know, and some of you may not, he put out a VAX mandate, okay? And His mandate was dealt a massive blow in the appeals court. A federal appeals court dealt a critical blow to the Biden administration's VAX mandate for federal employees. The court placed an injunction staying the White House from taking an enforcement action. So they're stopped in their tracks there. Let me see what's going on in the chats. Jason, Iran is under attack. So they're firing back. Well, Iran lobbed 7, I heard, over there into Syria. And Iran has been supplying the bears, which is Putin, the kamikaze drones for quite some time, and they have been very effective. And they are allies. Oh, Wanda, yeah, well, you can watch the replay. Yeah. I don't know how far it's going to escalate. I don't know. Let's see. Jason says there that Iran is under attack. And we can all dig up the stuff that Mr. T was keen to bring up about all the cash, pallets of gold that was sent over there to Iran by the Obama-Biden administration, and putting them on a course for an eventual nuclear weapon. Now, reports were weeks ago that they were literally, some reports saying that they were days away from having a operable BOMB. Hi, Kirsten, how you doing? Let's see, Fox News with breaking news. I'm sure there's a retaliatory strike on Iran. Let me pull up those articles. Yeah, Gary, the Middle East is going to heat up now. Who had us into the Abraham Accords when he left office? We went from the Abraham Accords to this. So let's see. There are so many stories. I'll cruise through them while I'm looking for. Here's a report. I'll just say real quick. Norfolk Southern wiped a key portion of the East Palestine derailment video before investigators could see it. The video is useless to investigators trying to determine what the train's three-person crew was doing at that time of the accident. When the accident occurred, they wiped out the footage. That reminds you of something, doesn't it? How many times has the footage gone missing? Oh, for certain events. Hi, Mike 1176. How you doing? You're right on time. So, anyway. Oh, I got another BIO-LAB report too. And I'll get to that in a second. But right now we're concerned with the situation in Iran. And what who punched who first is the thing. Who punched who first? What I'm on one side, I'm hearing that the Iranians just up and did something to Syria, which cost a couple soldiers and contractors as casualties, and it was in response to that. I'm hearing different stories. That's right, Kim. Pray for the Iranian innocents. And it's strange that before all this happened, Mike Pence put out a statement about Iran. Let me see if I can find it. I could paraphrase the statement. he said that there was a revolution brewing in Iran. He said that day before yesterday. If I come across it, I'll read it word for word. But what I remember, and I thought it was odd. I said, "Boy, what's Pence doing talking about Iran?" And that was day before yesterday. He said it was ripe for revolution. And okay, 48 hours later, we get this report. It was at 10:57 last night. I didn't, I'd already done my broadcast. I didn't do a community post. But according to ABC News, reported that instead of Israel, it was the U.S. Air Force that launched airstrikes in eastern Syria. It happened after one U.S. contractor was killed and 5 U.S. Army troops were injured by a drone of Iranian origin that attacked a coalition base near Hasaka in northeast Syria. So that was at 11 o'clock last night, about half an hour after I finished my broadcast. But I did find it strange that Pence was bringing up that Iran was ripe for revolution. And we also discussed wondering who was involved with disregarding Donald J. Trump's orders to get troops out. Totally out. And if you'll remember, when Trump talked with Raisin Kane, he went over to Iraq personally, and he said, listen, I've been telling you guys, get rid of these ISIS as quick as possible. He said, well, those orders were never given to me, Mr. President. He said, oh, really? He said, yeah. He said, well, I'm giving to you now. And they were taken care of. They were wiped out. We talked about that story in the past. But Mr. T has given stories where his orders have been supplanted or ignored in the past. So this is one where it's not going to be forgotten. So, Trump being back on Reddit. I was talking about his rally's going to be tomorrow, and I was saying, that he may do a Q&A after his rally live. Can you imagine that? A live question and answer. And I think people are going to be prepared for that. And they may ask a certain question or questions. But after I mentioned that last night, I saw a post where I said Trump was back on Reddit. Well, turns out the name of the, I guess, channel or account is Ask the _Donald. So if you you can ask the Donald. Now, I don't think that's, excuse me, you guys can tell I got a little bit of a cold going on, but anyway, I don't think that's really, managed by Trump or any of his top people. That's something that got kicked off of Reddit that's been let back on. But anyway, it made me think again. Yeah, and he did. He did, and I think he's going to do it again today or tomorrow. So anyway, it's going to be interesting. Oh, don't forget, Nikki's going to play that live. So Nikki will put a link in the description so you can subscribe and watch If you're doing YouTube tomorrow, you know where to watch it at, right, Nikki? So that's tomorrow, and I think it's 5 o'clock speech time. I think it begins. I don't know what time it begins. 2 or 3. I'll see if Nikki's got some details on that. So with this Bragg thing, even the New York Times is saying it's baloney. This guy Bragg, he's getting no credit. He's being alienated, and I'm thinking that's part of the Truth and Reconciliation Act, where these news organizations are having to come out and speak matter of factly about these things instead of playing along. The Washington Post, all the old standbys. There you go, Nikki. There's her link. All these old standbys are shriveling up. And then, of course, the 2018 letter that Michael Cohen said he paid Stormy Daniels from his own funds, that's being reproduced, spread around. There's a lot of YouTube videos on it, whereas in the past those would have been taken down. Like one big channel is 1.44 million subscribers is Tim Pool, Styx Hexenhammer, all these younger tubers are putting that stuff up with multiple accounts. I'm sure you all know of more people, but those are two of the biggest ones. So that's reaching across the aisle, so to speak, reaching across generations to get truth out. And I don't think that's by accident. So let's see some of these other articles. New evidence just exonerated Trump. Soros DA witch hunt fails. So you're seeing videos like that with hundreds of thousands of people viewing it just on one platform. And then you have questions being asked on the used to be lockdown type Twitter. You have people asking questions like this from Representative Jim Jordan. Representative Jim Jordan said, has anyone in the Biden administration been in contact with the Manhattan DA's office about a possible Trump indictment? Any Democrat members of Congress? Question mark. Everyone knows this is all politics, but how far does it go? Well, I think at some point everybody knows it's going to be considered criminal. Now, for some people, it will be considered criminal for what they're doing to him. Hi, Stacy. How you doing? Hi, Reba. So anyway, I might as well take this second to say this is a viewer-supported and creator-supported channel only. And I've got links in the description, a link in the description for channel support. If you all, I got it scrolling across the bottom there. If you all want to help an old man out, well, I've got a buy me a coffee link, and I really appreciate it. So I'll put up my other banner in a minute for everybody that's been helping me. And let's see, I didn't do that last night, but anyway, that article I was telling you about, the New York Times, make no mistake, the investigation of Donald Trump and the Stormy Daniels scheme is serious. And that's the article that was totally discredited before the ink even dried on the paper or it finished uploading into the internet. And they took this time to put this drawing of Trump that's very dark looking. And the one who wrote the byline was Andrew Weissman. a longtime acknowledged enemy of Donald J. Trump and a Clinton ally. So that was the name of the article, and it was in the New York Times. It was immediately discredited. Then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene coming out saying now it's time to arrest Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg for prosecutorial misconduct after hiding hundreds of pages of exculpatory evidence. Bragg is on the verge of indicting an innocent former president and top presidential candidate against the opposing ruling party. Bragg is breaking the law and trying to incite civil unrest with his SOROS funded political war. Hold him accountable. So even if I say that name backwards, I'll get in trouble. So I can't say it forwards, I can't say it backwards, but I can spell it. SOROS. So anyway, so yeah, it's getting loud. And Bragg is getting defensive, acting like he's being victimized or that people may be committing a crime against him or his office. And all the while that this is going on, this John Kirby, he's come out a couple of times. Let me see. Melinda says, what about the F object they found today? What was that? What was the FF object? We got to, yeah, I'm sure they'll be finding lots of them because they don't want us to focus on certain things. But I'm not sure what you're talking about, Melinda. But this is one thing they tried to distract people. John Kirby, okay, Admiral John Kirby, they call him or whatever, came out and said that Biden believes the benefits of gain of, you know what, the last word is function, research outweighs the risk. Okay, well, gain that kind, GOF, I'll say GOF research is illegal, okay? But Kirby said Biden believes that the risks outweigh the benefits. Okay, is that a tacit admission as to what's going on and what has been going on? Despite the fact that the VAX didn't work and what they created got out and killed millions of people. Okay, so he stepped in it when he made that statement, but you didn't hear anybody report on it. I dropped off for a second. I'm pecking around. But anyway, I thought somebody, yeah, I'm back, Nikki. I said somebody put in white substance. Okay, yeah, I hadn't heard that. Powder was sent to, oh, somebody pulled a Jussie Smollett. You know, remember he did that to himself. And there's somebody who was hands down convicted of something obvious, notorious, open and notorious, and is out on appeal. And he didn't even get charged for that white substance yet. Okay, well, I'm going to put that word in there, Y-E-T, yet. Right, Jussie? So, anyway. Oh my gosh, I got a picture of that Judge Beryl, B-R-Y-L Howell, the one who stripped the attorney-client privilege from Mr. T, okay? Beryl Howard. That's a typical liberal, drippy, droopy looking liberal. Next time I do a picture show, I'll put that, I guess I'll put it up. Powdered donut dust, my word. Well, they can still get in big trouble for it if they're trying to terror people as an eyes. Man, I hate spelling all that stuff, but hey, now I tell you, it's a sad story. There's two parts to this story. And I gotta be careful when I talk about stuff like this. Is a gunman, okay? You heard about what happened in Seattle? A sheriff's deputy was gunned down, right? And many of you may have heard that this person had green hair. The gunman who shot a sheriff's deputy was identified as a transgendered Democratic Socialist of America leader. Okay? Name was Stolzig, a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, signed a letter during the 2020 BLM anti-fizzle riots that rocked Seattle, calling for then Mayor Jenny Durkan to resign because she didn't support their causes. But that is somebody who took things into their own hands, if you know what I mean. So there's a little bit more to that story. But haven't we been seeing that quite a bit with a lot of the other stuff I covered in past broadcasts? People who have committed similar acts have been wearing clothes I don't wear. I'll put it that way. So anyway, I ran across that as I'm scrolling through. And let me see if I got the update on that. What the update was on that. Here we go. A reporter for a liberal paper talking about the same subject I just finished talking about. NPR, okay, National Public Radio, something you and me pay for, everybody pays for. NPR's social justice reporter, that's in quotes, details the account of a transgendered DSA member suicide during an eviction without noting the victim was shot and injured. NPR shared an audio clip of a friend of the suspect who described the alleged cop shooter as peaceful, kind, vegan, who liked to garden and would make soups from things that she grew in her garden. So they were apparently serving an eviction notice on this person, a lawful notice to get the hell out of somebody else's property, and it ended up in a bang situation, and he, she, whatever, didn't make it. But NPR didn't even mention that the deputy had been SHOT. Okay, so yeah, we got so many different branches of government, so many different industries that got to be cleaned out. And that led me to think about something. I was sitting there watching, I said, well, I might as well click on this video and watch it. It was somebody that given a report on what it was like to own an electric Hummer. And I said, oh boy, this ought to be a joke. Because I watched where one guy bought an electric truck, like a Ford or GM, and he wanted to test it out. So part of his testing it was he had bought a Model A pickup truck, a Ford Model A pickup truck, 1934 or 5, and he said, "Well, I'll use my brand new electric truck to go get this Model A. I'll put it on trailer and bring it back to the house." He had to go about 30 miles to pick up this Model A and then go 30 miles back to his house. He didn't make it. And he was flabbergasted about how terrible the battery power was, especially when you had it under any kind of a load. Just pulling the empty trailer decimated his estimated travel miles. So it was like, hey, I can get home with nothing. I can get my electric truck home, but I can't make it back home with an empty trailer, much less a trailer with a Model A on the back of it. And I thought to myself, what he should have done was put the trailer on the back, hooked up trailer up to the back of the Model A, and then drive the electric truck on the trailer, and he'd have got home. And that would have made a great video. You wouldn't have been able to go very fast, but I tell you what, that Model A would have pulled it. But anyway, so after that fiasco, I sit there, spot this full-size Hummer, electric Hummer. And I said, oh, let me see what's going on. This ought to be a joke. And the guy said how much it was to charge a Hummer. And you all take a guess at how much it took to charge the battery in this Humvee. And I'll keep going with the story. I'll see if anybody gets it right. He was talking about kilowatt hours. It took him 2 hours and about 15 minutes to charge that Hummer from 0 battery strength to 100. But anyway, while you all are cogitating on what that might have cost, I was thinking about the prior story I was talking about with the Model A, and it dawned on me this guy was praising this vehicle, talking about how wonderful it was, did not mention the price, and it dawned on me that we have a phony economy, a phony culture. I'm saying, where has this kid got the money to get one of these Hummers? Maybe he's probably 30 some, or maybe close to 40 or whatever. I'll say, let's say, I'll just go ahead and say it. Robert got it right on. Tennessee said 225, but Robert Clymer got it right. It was a little over 100. Melinda said 400. It cost them $100, but you got to keep in mind, folks, it's probably worse than that truck that was just pulling a empty trailer, could barely get 60 miles. So this thing was rated at, I forget how many miles under battery power, but the rating is ridiculous. They're lucky to get 50 to 75% under ideal conditions. So, you divide that up into your money, rather than, it's not like a fill-up of $100 would get a normal truck, could go 300 miles. I've had a number of pickup trucks, and that was about the average. My fill-up on a full-size 1500 truck, whether it was a Dodge, a Ford, or whatever, I could go roughly 280, 300 miles. So anyway, and that's what this, let's see. Gary said, I spent 5 minutes at the pump. Yeah, this guy's talking about how he took a nap and where he could look at his app and how easy it was to find a charging station. So I'm going, how can this guy, okay, first of all, they're being paid to put out videos. Okay. But the other thing too, when you see where Zuckerberg fired 10,000 Facebook people, and then a couple months later, he fires another 10,000. And you look at the thousands Elon Musk fired. And now what's coming out is Twitch, that live streaming service. They've fired thousands. And gosh knows how many other people are getting rid of their woke kooks. But for how many years, all through the Trump administration, all through the Biden administration, have these people been hired by these tech sites, okay, and these platforms that, as we know now, have been being supplemented by three-letter agencies paying millions of dollars to manipulate the message? And they have given jobs, high-paying tech jobs with very low to no responsibility. And their job was to create the message and to censor us. So you had a false economy that bolstered as being popular and successful this way of thinking. This liberalized, delusional climate cult being reinforced, the alphabet community being reinforced, all the political things we're battling now being reinforced. And that's going away. They're not going to have jobs anymore. They're not going to be able to afford that false economy. Okay. You look at it, people in those tech positions getting paid well to do squat, or were living in a dream world, but they were able to afford these overpriced toys and junk, and then were paid even more to do videos praising them. And that's going away. That's going away. So, how many jobs? When you think about it, this banking industry, a lot of them were doing that social stuff, the ESB or whatever it is. There's going to be a lot of layoffs in that department too, not just the tech thing. And this government, the other part of this false economy, which this false economy is financing radical thinking. It's encouraging radical thinking and financing it. How many of these radical teachers are going to be gone out of a paycheck? How many of these radical, not politicians, but bureaucrats are going to be gone and out of a paycheck? We know about what's just starting with these tech people. They're going to be gone and out of a paycheck. What about the entertainment industry? They've taken over the comic book industry, and they all getting paid big money because they're diversity hires. All that is going to be gone, and the economic props to this counterculture deviance is going to be gone. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. But anyway, folks, I'm up to my hour, and we're going to see what's going on. Now, tomorrow, we're going to see what Mr. T is going to do, and I'm probably going to go live tomorrow night. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll know when I go live. And you can be part of the chat. So we'll see what happens with Mr. T and the question and answer period that he may or may not have. So anyway, folks, y'all keep your chins up and your feet on the ground. Walk with your chest out, and there's might in the right. Okay, folks? So thank you for spending your precious time with me. This is Mountain Man, over and out.